All right, we're back. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 85. This week, we're checking out the Chernobyl Diaries from 2012. Just me. Like I said in the last episode, that would just be me. Next week, Maverick should be back. So, there's that. But the Chernobyl Diaries. And this is one of those movies, we've had a couple of these since we started the podcast, where I picked it because I remember when it came out, I was really excited about it. And I think I watched it relatively close to when it came out. And I remember liking it. And so that's why I wanted to go and check it out again. And first off, I could have sworn this was a found footage movie, and it is not. I don't know why I always remembered it being a found footage movie, but it isn't. And second off, this movie sucked. And I was really sad because I remember really liking it when it first came out. I'm going to rock a 3.5 for the Chernobyl Diaries. Uh, it was just, yeah, like the nothing really happened. Like it felt like they never really delivered on any of the scares and yeah, I don't know, but I definitely did not like it the second time around. And it sucks cuz the setting's so cool with the Chernobyl setting, you know. Um but what can you do? Anyway, spoiler warning. I'm going to ruin everything about it. So, if you haven't seen it, you've been warned. Um, the movie opens up with a bunch of clips of the group of friends on vacation, and they're in like Rome, I think, or something, because they're seeing like the Colosseum where the gladiators were fighting shit. It's playing that song, and it's like "We are young, we are free," you know that one. Um, and once again, I was like, "Oh yeah, found footage movie." Um, but then it zooms out and it's real gross because they're showing what we'll learn is the dude's brother. They're showing him the video, and so it's like they edited that themselves, and I was like, ew. I was like, I don't like that at all, you know. Um, so the group of friends, it was I don't know any of these people's names. I don't think either. The only one I know is the tour guide that we'll get to later. But the guy in the group, they're at his older brother's place. And the little brother is dating the blonde girl in the group. And the brunette is just like one of their friends. And immediately the older brother starts talking about, like, you think I got a chance with her, you know? Um, and I think, like, the guy might have been, like, she might have just gotten broken up with or something. It was real weird how he approached it. Also, this was the first instance of them talking, and I realized it wasn't a found footage thing. And I was like, well, maybe it's just this scene. That's weird, you know? So anyway, the brother wants to get with the brunette chick, and we see the little brother is planning on proposing to his girlfriend. They're going to a trip um, in maybe they were going to Rome. I don't remember where they were going. Maybe I'll have it written down a little bit. But anyway, after that, we get a random scene of them like going out on the town, and as they're walking home, some random dudes come up and like start harassing the girls and shit. And the older brother like can speak the language, and he's like, "Hey, fuck you," you know. But that was sort of out of out of nowhere. Um, the next morning, the group of friends is at breakfast waiting on the brother to get there. Uh, and here we go. So when he eventually arrives, he goes, "Hey, I know we're supposed to go to Moscow, but I met this guy named Yuri who does this thing called like Extreme Adventures or something. And basically, he can take us into Chernobyl and give us a look around and shit. And they're like, well, how does he get there? And he goes, he has a van. And they were like, oh. And I was like, well, thank God he has a van. that changes everything about this. Little bro is like, hey, we're supposed to go to Moscow. What are we doing? But the brunette really wants to go. And then eventually the little bro's girlfriend caves in and she wants to go. So the little brother's like, all right, fine, let's go, you know? So they leave. They go meet Yuri. Who is this? He sounds Russian to me. I think he was Russian. I mean, Yuri. That's a very Russian name. Shout out to Modern Warfare 3 with Yuri. Um, and yeah, they go meet Yuri. He's like, oh yeah, we go into Chernobyl. It's real easy, you know. They let me in. All this shit. As they're there, another couple comes into the place that's going with them. I refer to these people as the Viking couple throughout my notes because that's like their deal. The guy comes in and he's like, "This is my Viking love, Yolanda or something." I don't remember her name, but so I have them written down as the Viking couples in my notes. They do go to the van, and I will say it was a sweet ass looking camo van. So I'm sorry if I made a joke out of the van to begin with because it is pretty sweet looking here. Um, they get in the van. They drive to fucking the border where Yuri's supposed to cross. There are some guards there. Yuri's like, okay, I'll talk to him, you know. So he hops out, goes walking up to the guards. One guard like comes and walks in circles the whole van, and they keep the camera on him like it's the creepiest thing in the world. And I was like, it's just a soldier walking around the van. Like, what's the deal? Uh, Yuri gets back in. He says they aren't letting anyone in today. They're doing maintenance. He goes, that's weird. They usually tell me ahead of time when they do stuff like that, you know? And the older brother's like, hey man, we fucking paid you for this, you know? And Yuri's like, I know. And then he goes, all right, well, there's more than one way to get in, you know? And so the older brother goes, all right, make it happen. So they head the other way. Immediately, the little brother and his girlfriend are like sketched out about this. They're like, what are we doing, you know? And the older brother, or I think it might have even been the Viking dude, who they just met, so I'm surprised he would speak up, but he's like, come on, man, just chill out, you know? So they're skept out until, ladies and gentlemen, they get to a bumpy road where for some reason Yuri is like, all right, hold on, it's bumpy, and everyone acts like it's the greatest fucking thing in the world. Like, they're having so much fun hitting these bumps to the point that even the older brother and the Viking guy high five. And I was like, what are we doing here? What is this? What is this that we're doing? Eventually, they get to where they're getting out. They get out. They're next to like this little body of water, a little pond or something. Yuri goes over to look in the water, and he's like swirling his hand around. And then he does classic horror movie thing where he's like, something's biting me, you know. And so they're like, you dickhead, you got us, you know. And they start to walk away, but before they get back to the van, Yuri goes, oh hey, wait a minute, come back. And they come back, and we see on the ground there's a fish there that's like a mutant fish. It's got, you know, these teeth and shit. They like touch it and it moves, so it's still like alive or whatever. And they're like, oh shit, that's wild. And they leave. As they leave, it pans over to the water, and we see more fish like that swimming around in the water. They get back in the van. They drive to where they're finally getting out at, and they get out, and legitimately, they get out right next to the Ferris wheel. That apparently, let's see, I have it written down here somewhere. Okay, so it's a Ferris wheel. The Pripyat amusement park never went public. So this Ferris wheel bit or whatever, it never went public. It was supposed to have its grand opening on May 1st, 1986, but the Chernobyl disaster occurred on April 26th. So no one was ever able to use it. But here's why I marked out for it is because it legitimately, like, it has the workers booth here. If anyone's played Modern Warfare all ghillied up, they know that the climax of the mission is a standoff where you have to fend off the soldiers at this Ferris wheel and wait for the helicopter to come. When you play that game on Veteran to get the achievement for, beating the game in Veteran, the workers booth that you see that's right next to this, I used to just hide and lay down in that and would throw out grenades because they would keep throwing in grenades and I would throw them out or whatever. So I was tripping out seeing them get out, and it looks exactly like it did in Modern Warfare. And I get, that this is a real place, and obviously that's what they, developed it after in the game. But they all take a picture in front of the Ferris wheel, and I was convinced that picture was like going to be shown at the end of the movie. Like when everyone's dead, they're like, the last thing. But I don't think it did, unless it was at the very end of the credits, because I didn't go, all the way to the end. They go into the town. They're looking around. They go into this building, and there's a dead, like, dog out there, and the guy is like, oh, that's weird. They don't usually come, this far into the city or whatever. They go in the buildings. The Viking guy, like, picks up something, but Yuri, like, knocks it out of his hand, and he's like, no, you can't take anything from here, or else you'll get home and it'll make you sick. People take shit, and then they get home, and they start getting sick, and they die, and they have no reason why, and that's because the radiation from the object they took is what keeps poisoning them. Also, if you've ever played Modern Warfare, you'll know there's a part where you're like walking through the buildings and you can hear like the voices of like kids or whatever, like like playing. And for some reason, I used to think that was like a real thing, and I don't think it is. That like you could hear the voices of the people, because no one died in the Chernobyl disaster, right? Maybe some people who were in the reactor that like went off, but I don't know. I know people probably got fucked up by radiation, but yeah. So anyway, you can't take anything unless you're sick. The group goes around, they're taking pictures and shit, and Yuri sort of walks off to the back, and as he does, he goes and he looks down, and he sees there's a fire there that's still smoldering, so, it's newish, or it hasn't been long since someone was there, and so he's like, so he, like, kicks it and puts it out, and he's like, we should leave, and they're like, alright, but then they hear a noise, and they're like, what the fuck was that? And they're like, is anyone else supposed to be here? And Yuri's like, it's not possible, So they're waiting. They're being super quiet. They're like sneaking through the hall to see where this noise is. And then they get to the final door and they open it up and they're looking to where the stairwell is. And then here comes a giant ass bear hauling up the stairs and goes running by them. And they're like, oh, fuck. And they go running. And they get the fuck out of that building. And Yuri's like, that's a story to tell at dinner tonight, right? And for some reason, that's what I remembered. Not the most of this movie, but I always remembered the bear in the building. Like, that always stuck out to me about this movie. They get back to the van. This is also, I like, the Viking dude is like, talking to the older brother, and he's like, we should keep in contact. What's your email? And I was like, also, this is 2012. It was email popping back then. It wasn't just text messages or whatever. All right, whatever. They get back in the van. They're like, all right, let's get out of here. But, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is a horror movie after all. So the van will not start. And when he opens up the like the box to see where everything is, like the spark plugs or whatever, everything is shredded. All the wires are shredded. So they're like, what type of animal could have done that? And he's like, I don't know, It now is dark, and Yuri's whole thing is he wanted to leave before it was dark. Yuri says they should just camp out here in the van and wait till the morning and then they can leave. But the Viking dude is like, well, we could just hike, you know? And I think it ends up being like 13 miles maybe or something. And the dude was like, yeah, we can do that, you know? But Yuri says it's too dangerous to go during the night. Like, it's just too dangerous. And then they start to hear uh, someone outside of the van. And they say it sounds like a baby, but I couldn't really hear it. But I could hear the voices, you know? And they're like, are you sure no one could be out here? And Yuri's like, I don't know how they could, you know? So then Yuri gets a gun out of his glove box. And for some reason, they're like, why do you have that? They get mad at him for some reason. And he's like, you should be glad I fucking have this. And I was like, yeah. Like, it seems like that's going to come in handy. Yuri gets a gun. He goes walking off to find wherever this voice is. The little brother goes to go with him, and the older brother starts to leave, but the little brother is real mad at him. He's like, no, you just stay here and think about how you can fuck things up more. You know, every time I'm with you, you get me in trouble or some shit, and he, like, leaves the older brother. And throughout the movie, the older brother deals with that a lot. Like, the guilt of always, like, getting his little brother into trouble, you know? So the little brother catches up with Yuri. They like go around the corner. They can't see them, but then there's a bunch of gunshots and they can see the flashes going off and shit. The older brother jumps out. He goes running. The other people are still in the van, and we get from their perspective, like just looking out, and we see eventually the older brother carrying the little brother, or like has him supported on his shoulder, rounding the corner, and they run back to the van and they jump back in. The little brother's leg is just all fucked up. He keeps going. There was a lot of them, you know. They keep going, well, where's Yuri? Where's Yuri? And he goes, they got him. They got him, you know. And then some Chernobyl dogs jump up onto the to the window and start barking and shit. So it's like, oh, it was this, you know, pack of dogs that got them. This was also the point where, so it's pitch dark outside these windows. They have the dome lights on in the van, so like they can't see anything outside. And I was like, y'all need to turn these off. Because all I could think about, we went ghost hunting one time, and the place we were had these motion lights that came on. So the motion lights were on, and it was like we could see where we were, but we couldn't see beyond where the lights were. And it was a real creepy feeling of like anyone can be behind where the lights are in the dark and can see us perfectly, but we can't see them. And this is exactly what was going on here. Like anyone outside of the van can see them perfectly, but they can't see shit. So I'm like, they need to turn the lights off. But the van decided to do the job for me, and the battery dies, so the light goes off. And I was like, this is what y'all need. Just stay in the dark. Like, you'll be... I don't know if you'll be fine, but you probably have a better chance, you know? The battery dies, but then, of course, they turn on a flashlight. And I was like, fuckers, just stay in the dark. And so they're like, all right, we need to stay here. And I expected the movie that was going to be the thing, because I didn't remember... I remembered the ending of this movie very well, and the bear... and like the setup of them in the van. I didn't remember anything about that. It cuts to morning time, and I was like, oh shit, I thought it was going to be night forever now. But it's morning time. The Viking dude and the older brother decide to go look for Yuri, and the brunette decides to go with them. So now, the only people in the van are the little brother, his girlfriend, and the Viking dude's girlfriend. So, also during the night, they have found a second radio. Yuri tried to radio for help, but no one, was answering. And they found a second radio in the van. And so they're using that as they're walking to try to radio for him. And eventually they start to hear their voice, from where they're radioing. And they're like, oh, fuck. And they look, and it's like this underground shop looking thing. It was real weird looking, and they hear the radio. So they go walking down in there. They end up finding a blood trail, and after a while, when as they follow it, they find Yuri, and he's all fucking torn up. So Yuri is in fact dead, and they're like, oh shit, and they're like, I think the girl's starting to get sick. And then the next thing you know, the door behind them, they hear someone coming in, and so they're like, oh shit. The Viking dude and the older brother go running out this like back door into a hallway, but the brunette girl jumps over like the cabinet, or not the cabinet, the counter, and is laying there. So she's sitting there, and you can see through like the slots that someone is like walking past, and like they look weird or whatever. And this scene seemed like it went on forever, and nothing like comes of it, because she eventually sneaks over to where the gun is that Yuri had, takes it, runs to get to the door where the other two are. They close the door, and then the Viking guy takes the gun and fires 3 shots through the door, because the guy's like banging on it, whoever was there. And that's about it. That was all that scene was. But it seemed like it went on forever. Like, I don't know what it was about it that was just so boring to me. They get back to the van again, and they decide they're gonna leave and they're gonna go get help. So everyone leaves but the little bro and his girlfriend. They're the ones that stay behind. The older bro is like, I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna go get help. I'm gonna make everything right, you know. And then they immediately get sidetracked when they find a junkyard, and they go looking through the cars and shit, looking for new like wires or spark plugs to get the van started. As they're there, they find a bus where there's a bunch of bullet holes in it, and the brother is able to decipher or figure out that these bullet holes came from the inside. Someone was inside shooting out, you know. They go in the van, they look around. I don't remember if anything came from that. I don't think something did. But then some dogs show up and they start getting chased by dogs again. They run and they get to that body of water that we saw earlier. There's this little like kind of makeshift looking bridge. Like, it's not one solid bridge. It's a bunch of different pieces of wood or whatever that follow. So they try crossing it. The Viking dude ends up falling in. And the Viking girlfriend falls in. So her boyfriend jumps in after her and manages to get her out. But after he gets her out, he starts getting attacked by all those fish that we saw earlier. So they manage to get him to the other side of the water so he can get out. He's like all bit up on his legs and shit. It's dark now, and they're like in the middle of a road in a street, you know. I think they might have turned around. Like, the radiations were getting too bad, so they were like, maybe they were heading back to the van or something. I don't remember. There was a part where the girl goes, "We're heading in a circle," so maybe they just rounded back and didn't know they were. But it ends up being dark. They're in the middle of the road in the city now. The older brother says that he had heard a rumor that not everyone had left Chernobyl. And I was like, why did you bring this up now? You know? Then the girl, the brunette who's taking these photos the whole time, says that in one of the photos she took, she thought she saw something in the back of it, but she assumed it was nothing, you know? And I thought we were going to get to, like, see the photo, but we never do. But as she mentions it, they have them framed so you're facing the front of them. And in the back, you see someone cross the road. And then they hear it, and they turn around and look, but no one's there. So they're like, fuck it. So they just run until they get to where the van is, but the van's not there. And they're like, what the fuck? And then they look down, and they start finding, like, pieces of the van. And they're like, what's going on? And they round the corner, and the van is on its side, and the little brother and the girlfriend are gone. and they're like, where the fuck are they? But they look down, and the girlfriend's phone is on the ground. So they pick it up, and there's a video on it. And the video is of the little brother going, I was going to wait till we got to Moscow to do this. And he shows her the ring. And she's like, no, just wait. We're going to make it to Moscow. And then the next thing you know, they get attacked. Like, something starts banging on the van. They get thrown. Also, before they get thrown, they hear something outside the van, and the girl, this is the window to the van, looking out, and she goes, "What's out there?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, just knock it off, these dumb people." So they get thrown, they get taken. That's the big thing there. The Then they hear a noise that they think is the girlfriend, the boy's girlfriend. So they follow it until they get into this building and in this room. But there's nothing there, and so they're about to leave, but then a chair gets thrown and hits the wall next to them, and they look, and you get like a split-second look at like someone standing there looking all creepy. That's how most of these, you never get a good look at any of these people, probably because they looked like shit, and they didn't want you to know it. But they're like, oh shit, so they run. As they leave, the Viking guy grabs a map, and so he can read the map as they're leaving. But very quickly, like, either the map is fucked up or something's wrong because they're not where they should be when they're following the map. The big brother doesn't want to leave without his little bro. So the Viking dude, like, snatches the gun away from him, and he's like, we gotta go. He's like, you can't stay here, And the brother's like, fuck you guys, But eventually he caves in, and he's like, all right, we gotta go to get help. So he goes to leave with them. This is when I say they're running, and they're looking at the map, but they're not where they should be, according to the map. And so they stop to talk to, or to look at the map, and as they do, it pans, and there's a little girl standing behind them that's facing away from them. And the big brother, like, goes to walk up to her, and I was like, nothing good will come of, even if you see a child, if you ever see a child, ladies and gentlemen, in an abandoned place who's just staring off into the distance, not looking at you, do not approach them. They do not need help. They are going to kill you, or they are going to do something terrible to you. Nothing good will ever come of it. Please stop. You're welcome. As he's walking up to her, we see also they have found the little brother's girlfriend, I think, in that building, and that they left earlier. So she's here too. She says that they got the little brother. I don't think you ever see the little brother again. I think he is dead in this movie, from what I can remember. So as the big brother's walking up to the girl, it shows the little brother's girlfriend sitting here, and there's like stairs leading down into like a something, and there you can see a shadow of someone standing there. So before he can get to the little girl, the girlfriend gets grabbed, and they turn just in time to see her get dragged down these stairs. And they go to run the follow. As the big brother looks back, the little girl is gone. So they follow the girlfriend's screams and they find a random dead guard who's strung up here at one point. They wind up in this big open area that looked like a football field or something. And they're looking around, and out from the tunnels, just a bunch of people start walking towards them. And so they're like, oh shit. The Viking dude starts firing off shots. They run away. They go down more stairs. They break a chain off a door to get in, and they barricade it. So they're in like this complex looking area. There ends up being a bunker room down there. So they run down this bigger spiral staircase. The Viking dude's firing shots because they managed to get in through like the windows or whatever at people. So he's still shooting at people. They get to the bunker. They're the Viking girlfriend, the brunette, and the big bro get in, but the Viking dude gets grabbed before he can get in. So the Viking dude is dead now too, and their gun, which is empty at this point because he goes to shoot and you hear it click, is gone. So they close the door. The Viking dude's girlfriend is all sad and shit. But they're like, we gotta get out of here, you know? So they start walking. They come across all this medical equipment and shit. They go even further underground. And they find like a makeshift living room. And they figure out that this is where the people must have been living, you know? And then there's like a little tent. And they think they hear like the little brother. And they're like, you know, James or whatever his fucking name is, and they go walking over there, and they open it up, but it ends up being like some blob looking dude. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he comes out and crawls towards them, you know? So they're like, fuck. So they start running. More people are getting in somehow. They're coming in chasing after them. They end up finding a ladder that takes them up and out. And the big brother and the brunette manage to get out, but the Viking girl gets grabbed, and so she is killed. Somewhere in here, the big brother ends up fucking up his eyes. I don't remember how he did it. I assume there was some gas or some shit. But he fucks up his eyes, so he can't see. And the radiation levels are going crazy on their little device that shows them the shit. They find the little brother's girlfriend in here that's dead. She's all fucked up. The big brother needs the brunette girl now to show him how to get around because he can't see anything. They get attacked by more people, but they manage to fight them off and kill them. They end up getting out. They finally get from underground and they come out and they're at the reactor. Reactor 4, I think was the name of it. The reactor that, you know, sparked the whole Chernobyl thing that melted down or whatever. They get there and the army is here, and so they're like, hey, you know, don't shoot, we need help. The army keeps yelling at them, don't come any closer, you know. And this was the weird thing, because I could have sworn that the big brother who's blind now, was the only guy who could speak their language, but for some reason he keeps walking towards them. He doesn't listen to them, you know. So they fucking shoot him in the chest, and the big brother's dead. They come over, they throw a bag over the brunette's head. She wakes up, she's on a gurney, and there's doctors there and shit. The doctors start talking to each other, and we get subtitles, and they're talking about, you know, all the escape patients were recovered, and, you know, all this shit. Apparently these people were, like, patients of the radioactive you know, disaster that happened, and they escaped, and, you know, all this shit happened, and they're like, we can't let her go, you know, she's the only one left, you know, everyone else is dead or whatever. So they wheel her down the hallway, and they toss her in this room, and we hear someone walking behind her, and then she looks, and out of the darkness, all the Chernobyl patients jump on her and kill her. And that's the end of the Chernobyl Diaries. This movie had a budget of $1 million. Made a box office of $37.2 million. So there's that. Made some money. Best of, worst of. My best of. My best of will probably be the bear. that's that's the only thing that I like got enjoyment out of this movie was the bear that was scaring them in the building or whatever. Uh, and I always remember that. Worst of Worst of might be like the excuse me. Oh my god. Oh my god, I threw out my back. Oh. Um Worst of I think I'm going to say the older brother's death. It just seemed like it came out of nowhere and like I don't know. I mean, I get like their whole thing. They were going to kill them anyway, but I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. Either that, or I could tell you the ending with them jumping out on top of her because it looks so fucking goofy. Um, but you know, whatever. But that's my best of worst of. Um, and that's the end of Chernobyl Diaries. I am really let down. Like I've recommended this movie to people in the past, and now I hope they never watched it because they would have hated me. They would have been like, "What the fuck," you know? Um, yeah, it definitely wasn't as good as I remember it. Disappointed. But anyway, that's the end. This is a short. I can't remember the last time we had. I've been recording for about 37 minutes at this point. Um, I can't remember the last time we had, like a 37-minute episode or whatever. But it is what it is. Uh, Next week, it's Maverick's pick. I don't know what he's picking yet. If he gives me an answer today, then when this comes out, I'll have it in here. If it was there, then you know what it is. If not, it'll be something. No overtime Monday. Not that I know of, because I'm not planning on doing one, but who knows? That could change in the next couple days. I'm going to sneeze again, guys. Yeah, there will be some shorts coming out, I think, though. It's been a while since shorts have come out. Well, there'll be some shorts Monday. Um, and yeah, thanks for, if we've hit it by now again, thanks for 200 subs. We hit it the other day, and I was like, cool, 200 subs. And then, like, someone unsubscribed, and so we were at 199. And I was like, no. So, thanks for getting us to 200 subs. We appreciate it. And that's about it. Go check out Jackass Forever if you haven't. I saw it yesterday. It was fun. I don't think it was their best movie, but I mean, I was smiling the whole time. I mean, yeah, even like yeah, it was still good. I think my ranking, I would have like Jackass the movie is at the bottom. Jackass Forever is above that. Jackass number 2, and then I really like Jackass 3. That's probably my favorite Jackass movie. And maybe that's just because like of the age I was when it came out, and like I remember it so well. But that's always been my favorite Jackass. But this one was good. So go check that out if you haven't. Go check out the gaming channel. I don't plug it often because it kind of became like a non-factor for a while. Like I wasn't really focusing on it. But I've been trying to do some gaming stuff recently. So I'll link it down in the description. There's a bunch of fucking content there. I mean, that channel's been around for 3 years or whatever at this point. Or it's the 4th year of doing it. So there's a bunch of videos of kind of a different style of comedy. Gaming wise. So yeah, go check that out. We have an Instagram now I started to post some horror stuff and talk about the podcast when it comes out. I'll link that down in the description. It's if you go look at the channel, it's there too. And I think that's about all the plugs for this episode. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you guys Friday for whatever Maverick picked. He'll be here. He better be, or else I'll fuck him up. And yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later.